Ladies and gents, it has been around a week since this alleged UFO crash retrieval video took the world by storm. It was released by a YouTube channel and news network called NewsNation, who had hyped this up for 2 weeks as an alleged whistleblower from a UFO crash retrieval project, coming forward and spilling the beans, telling all. And as you can see, it was met with, well, let's put it this way. People weren't too impressed. People compared it to pretty much what I thought the minute I watched this video, which was, it looks like bro just duct taped an egg, a literal egg, to a shoelace. Just duct taped it on. And that was my initial thought. The more I watched people talk about this and the internet react to it, it turns out everybody thought the exact same thing that I was. And that's where this gets really interesting, because a YouTuber by the name of Caspersight made a video where he was trying to recreate this video by literally using an egg, duct tape, and a shoelace. By the way, Caspersight is a fantastic channel, super cool. If you're into like the UFO phenomena and whatnot, his videos are very based and kind of just objective about the whole thing. So it's a really refreshing take on a very heebie-jeebie topic. So watching his video kind of lit a spark. It lit a fire inside of me. And I thought, why would you do that physically when you could do a much better job with CGI, even with really basic CGI? Because at the end of the day, if you're going to throw a night vision filter over it and claim it was a phone recording of a screen that's using night vision from a camera, you've got like 5 steps of, obfuscation and of compression and data loss. Surely you could just CGI something better. So I decided I was going to give myself 2 hours to try and recreate that video, but better in Unreal Engine. And something I just want to kind of state, because I don't want people to think that I'm mocking the extraterrestrial, UFO believers. That's not what this is. Personally, I do believe that there is intelligent life out there. And this mainly comes down to something that Brian Cox said. And it's something that's always stuck with me. Which is, if our belief that the universe is truly infinite is, turns out to be true, and the chance of us existing is like infinitesimally small, like 1 in a trillion, infinity always beats a number, a definable number. So it kind of goes that if it is truly infinite, the universe, there is going to be more intelligent life out there for certain, other than us. So I don't dismiss that and, throw it to the wayside and laugh at that stance. I do believe in that. However, people muddy the waters of this with random footage like this that then gets put on a pedestal, pushed to millions of people, and pushed as true. Now, the whistleblower that came forward, all his credentials and everything check out, and I believe that he is who he says he is just because of the amount of other high-ranking officials that have vouched for him. But that video footage just isn't. Like, let's be honest, it just isn't. So I'm going to go and make my own version of the Egg UFO video. So come join me, but first of all, a quick word from the sponsor of today's video. World of Warships have sponsored today's video to tell you about their awesome free-to-play PC game. Some of the exciting features you can expect from World of Warships are new content every single month, which ensures fresh gameplay, whether that be cosmetics, new ships, or new in-game nations. World of Warships has top-notch new graphics. There are more than 40 unique maps with dynamic weather effects and stunning water physics. With multiple ship classes to choose from, you can explore the full history of naval battles, including iconic battleships, destroyers, aircraft carriers, and even cruisers. And if you're feeling more stealthy, you can take to the depths with the new submarine class. Play as a lone wolf or team up with your friends in a division. If you've never played World of Warships before, you can take advantage of an amazing sign-up bonus using my link in the description and entering code IMPACTFORCE to get the following: 20 days of premium account, Japanese tier 3 cruiser Tenryu, a port slot and commander, and you can unlock a series of simple combat missions to unlock additional rewards, which includes the following: US tier 7 cruiser Boise, 7 super containers, 40 million credits, and 1 million elite commander XP. Oh, and did I mention you can also play World of Warships on console? If you're looking to dominate the seas, alone or with friends, use code IMPACTFORCE after clicking on the link in the description to take advantage of their new player offer. And as always, a massive thank you to World of Warships for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so first things first, we're going to need our egg and a net. And the way we're going to do that is in Blender. I'm not a 3D artist by any means. In fact, 3D is one of the things that I have neglected to learn for many years due to the fact that if I'm working in a game development team or on a game jam, there's always someone there who knows 3D or knows texturing, right? There's always an abundance of people that have those skills. So I've just kind of put off learning it. Now, I know some basic Blender. So here we're just modeling the net. And I know it looks very rigid right now and not very net-like. But I'm actually going to apply cloth physics to this in Engine to have it, you know, wiggle in the wind of the rotor of the helicopter and to just add some extra movement, even if it's really subtle, to the scene to make it more convincing and less like duct tape. Now that we've got our net and our beautiful egg in Unreal Engine, they look absolutely terrible. So I begin the process of weight painting, which, for those who don't know, is where you take a model that's made up of a lot of polygons and you basically paint on how much it can move. So black being can't move anywhere, white being it can fully move wherever it wants in relation to the other bits of that, you know, of that net. This is a process that I later come back and refine it, just to get a bit of non-uniform movement and get some bits to just fold over differently, look more net-like. And at the same time, I've also thrown on a texture, a placeholder one for now, of a net to make the actual net model a double-sided, well, net. So next up, I've got the egg and the net in there and it's all working, and I decided, okay, it's probably time to get some physics on the go rather than just me dragging the egg around. So I decide to mess with something I've not played around with in Unreal Engine much. It's physics constraints. Basically a way to make joints and ropes and hinges physically in the engine. I'm just going to say this now. If you've never messed around with these and you think these would be really fun to use in my game, just don't, please. Because this is how it started, and this is how it quickly ended up 10 minutes later. Jesus Christ, what the hell's this? So at this point, we've got the basics, right? We've got an egg that I've now thrown a material on that matches the description of a shiny egg, kind of like a very glossy, shiny egg, like an egg, that is tied to a net with a rope going up to a helicopter, and we've got the basics down. Now, this is where I decided we may as well make it look better, right? So I decided to start grabbing free assets from Megascans to make some very simple terrain that looks somewhat realistic. Not going to matter too much because once we've got like the whole night vision effect and whatnot on there, it's going to kind of hide the crimes anyway. And at the same time, I found a very badly optimized model of a Black Hawk helicopter. But it's okay because we're not using it as an actual viewable model in the game. We're just using it to get a shadow. So I did that, put that in, animated the blades so that they actually spin in the shadow. And I mean, so far, it's not looking bad. So following this, it's working great so far. I decided to make it a little bit more realistic, to put a bit more depth in the scene. Again, most of this is going to be non-visible in the final result, but it'll be there but subtle. I wanted to add this kind of thing that I see in a lot of helicopter videos, where it's like aerial from the air down. And this is something that a lot of people don't realize until you're quite high up. You get a panning shadow almost of the clouds above, especially on an overcast day. So I added some very subtle but workable shadows that just kind of pan across in a procedural nature, which looks pretty close to how it would if you were to look out of a helicopter down at the ground in a kind of overcast moonlit scene. So, with limited time left in my 2 hour allotted slot, I decided I wanted to test something that I hadn't actually planned ahead for, so I didn't even know if I was able to do it. And that was create a night vision kind of effect overlay for the video to basically mimic what they did in the original video. And it turns out there was a tutorial online in a YouTube short of all places showing how to make an actual night vision effect that is accurate to night vision within a certain degree. So I tried that out and it turned out pretty damn good. I also threw some Black Hawk chopper sound effects over it because you need the sound to kind of really sell it. And again, this isn't the final version, but this was just me testing that bit of it would work because it was kind of crucial. So here's the footage. So in doing this little test, there's one thing in particular that I really wanted to change, which was the rope. Now, getting textures to not warp and stretch on these cable components in Unreal is something I could probably figure out. I'm sure it would probably take me about half an hour to an hour to work it out and get it perfect. But I don't have that amount of time, so instead I'm going to throw over a very simple texture that may look like a cable instead of rope, for example. Less detailed, easier to, again, hide the crimes. Yeah, that's the plan. And then on top of that, I'm going to play the video on a low-res screen that I can plug in and then use my phone to record the screen. And I'm excited to see how it turns out. So let's do that.
That's an egg-shaped UAP suspended from a 150-foot long line. We're told the craft is about 20 feet long. The egg suspended in a cradle. And look how careful the pilot is as they bring their precious cargo into land.
I think that actually turned out pretty damn good, considering that I gave myself 2 hours to do that. Now, I kind of want to point this out. I've seen a lot of people look at the original footage, and I know people want to believe, and they will do anything to believe. But the main problem I keep seeing is people have done things such as like luminous analysis on this, checking like the lighting values, the shadow directions, the amount of light and all that, and have concluded that it's fully real. Now, the problem with this, as I see it, and I've seen one other person point this out, is that if this is truly just an egg duct taped to string in a shoelace and is waggled around over whatever that surface below was, which I'll get to that in a second, if that is what it is, well, of course it's going to be correctly lit, and of course analysis on the lighting is going to show up as real, right? Because it's filmed in the physical world, so the lighting will be accurate. And sure, if I had got more time, maybe like another 4 hours to mess around with the lighting and perfect it and get it looking really nice with some, you know, bright spots from like a light from the chopper shooting down, sure, I think I could have got it to be pretty much bang on with that as well. So the main problem I see with this video that I've not seen anybody point out, or at least I've not seen anyone point out in the same way that I'm about to. The ground, what is the ground supposed to be in that original video? Some people are saying, oh, it's grass. You can clearly see grass blades. And to that I say, well, you shouldn't be able to see grass blades that big. That's apparently a 20-foot egg. We're talking prehistoric levels of egg. Like if you drop that on a small town or house, you just have egg yolk everywhere. Like it would be a national crisis. That's a big egg. So if it's really 20 foot long, why is the grass about 3 feet long per blade and about half a foot thick per blade? That's something that nobody's actually been able to answer. And I don't believe that it's grass or anything. I think it's something very similar to miner's moss. If you've ever watched Alaskan Gold Rush, you'll know what miner's moss is. It's basically this very porous material that's green and it's very textured. It just looks like miner's moss that's been stamped down because there's just too much cavity in that ground. I don't know. It's it's really hard to explain why it's wrong, but there's just something wrong about it, and everyone's noticed this. Like, a lot of people are picking up on this. But again, I just want to say, I'm not here to burst anyone's bubble, to ruin anyone's fun. If anything, this was just a fun thing for me to do that was inspired by Casper Side's video. And I think it was a pretty successful little thought experiment, you know, messing around with some new things in Unreal that I've not had really any reason to mess around with before. And, you know, get to learn a few things here and there about that. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. It's been a bit different. It's been a bit weird. I know. It's just one of them things where inspiration hit me and I was like, I really want to do that because I think it'd be fun. If you guys found it fun, if you guys found it interesting, let me know. Let me know what you think of the results. And as always, ladies and gents, until next time, take care.